news on your screens right now. These are massive cuts in deposit rates that are coming in from India's largest bank, State Bank of India. Ritu has all the details. Now, Ritu, we saw some minor tinkering with deposit rates just, I think, about a week or 10 days back.
Absolutely.
After the demonetization drive kicked in. But such a big rate cut coming through, was it anticipated?
Well, some of it was anticipated, but such a huge cut in deposit rates has not been seen before. 8th of November is when the demonetization drive was announced, and I think on the 16th of November, SBI said it had reduced bulk deposit rates by about 15 basis points. That is the kind of rate cuts we've seen across the industry. But when you look at this announcement, clearly, I mean, the bank is flush with funds. The last, figure, if we could pull up earlier, SBI had collected deposits of about 1,15,000 or more crores so far because of this demonetization drive. So clearly they are flush with funds, which is why they have the comfort to bring down deposit rates. But even then, such big cuts is really surprising.
It's perhaps also a bit of a compulsion, right? Because with such a massive amount of deposits coming into the system, if all of this starts moving to FDs, then that would create a serious issue in terms of margins for the bank. So perhaps it's a bit of a deterrence as well.
Well, the big question here is, will all the deposits that have come into the bank stay in that bank account? Of course, so it'll be not very wise to take actions based on what deposits you've got because of the demonetization drive. Yes, people are depositing money in banks, but it is not to say that the money will not return to where it originally came from, return to FDs or return to whatever investments they had to make. So to make, big cuts based on the deposits coming in because of the demonetization drive, it would be questionable. But so far, yes, of course, these are big deposit cuts, 150 to 190 basis points for bulk deposits between 1 to 10 crores and even higher for bulk deposits above 10 crore rupees. There are various figures. If I were to read out between 7 to 45 days, there's about a 180 basis point rate cut, 190 basis point cut between 180 and 210 days. So various maturities and various kinds of rate cuts, but anywhere upwards of 100 basis points, which is 1 percentage point. So this is a big move by State Bank of India. Of course, for any bank, if you see a deposit rate cut precedes a lending rate cut. So the interesting question will be to see if after this lending rates will really come down, because the cost of funds has fallen so much.
Well, that is the million-dollar question, isn't it, Ritu? That if we've seen such a sharp cut in the deposit rates, are we likely to see an equally sharp cut as far as lending rates are concerned? And also, if SBI has moved on the deposit front, then perhaps we are going to see the start of other banks following suit.
Absolutely, Shireen. I mean, State Bank of India alone is 1/4 of the entire banking system. If they have taken such a big move, if their cost of funds has fallen significantly, and of course, this should be followed by lending rate cuts, no bank can afford to remain an outlier in this market. There is stiff competition. There are very many banks. If the largest lender in the market, which has a huge market cap, moves to make such a drastic call and such a drastic decision, it'll be impossible for other banks to not react. Maybe not to this extent. They may not have as much liquidity comfort as, say, State Bank of India. But of course, you do expect other banks to also follow once a market leader has taken this decision.
But all above 1 crore.
All right. So.
Absolutely.
Yes, on bulk deposit rates, as Ritu was pointing out. Ritu, thanks very much for joining us. That is the breaking story at this hour. But on to the big